So in this video, we will see how to read a particular object field value and then how to set a particular object uh, field value. So in this session, right? So we will consider opportunity object. And we'll open any one of the record to just see, and then we'll go back to the setups. Yeah. So basically, we are in this opportunity, right? So how do we read a particular field value and then use it somewhere in the same record or any other record? And in the same way, how to set a particular attribute value. So these things we will see now. So so what? So here we will consider some of the attributes like win probability. Okay, so we will read win probability and then we'll update the estimated commission. So multiplied by 100 multiplied by 10. So we are reading the win probability value and then we are setting the estimated commission based on the win probability value. So, and then we will also set referenceable to yes when it is reaches to 50, right? So when it reaches to 50, so uh, so then these two fields should get updatable automatically. Okay, so then referenceable should be enabled and estimated commission should be calculated 50 into 100. So that means 5,000. So like this, it should calculate when we enter more than 50 or greater than 50. If when probability is greater than 50, so this should automatically calculate and then it should set the values. Okay, so now we will go back to the setup. To change the field behavior or to write any scripts, we need to go to application composer and then the server scripts. So from server scripts, we'll go to the object, we'll search for the object and then expand object. We'll go to server scripts. So we will go in detail in coming sessions on server scripts. Now we will use one of the server script to read a value and to set the value. So I'll be using the field trigger of win probability when it is Just checking for the win probability field. Uh, okay. So now what we will do is we will use before update trigger. So this means whenever an opportunity is updated, so then this script will execute. So now we need to do two steps, right? Step one, we need to read the okay. Step one, we need to read the step one, we need to read the win probability. From opportunity object. Then second one, calculate the commission and update the commission field. Then update the checkbox field. So here, the part one, we need to read win probability. So for that, we need to go to the function palette. So this is called Groovy function palette. Here we can see different options for like to select functions or fields or any other keywords or web services, right? So all of these options will be available here. So from this, if we want to select a field from the uh, from from the current object, we need to go to fields and then expand uh, opportunity. If we click on the opportunity label, so and then if we go down little, so we have a search option. Here we can find out the field. Okay. So I think this is the field. Okay, estimated commission. So we need to select this field, and from this we can identify the display name, attribute name, backend name, and the type, and then few other properties. So then once we are sure that this is the field, we can insert. So this is the estimated commission field. We also need win probability. Okay, so win probability. So this one also we can insert. So either we can just copy the attribute name or we can insert. Anything is fine. Now we got the win probability value. So this we can store in a particular variable called win. We can either use directly in calculations win probability, or we can even assign the value field value to a variable, and then we can reuse further. It depends on the needs. if the calculation is simple, so we can directly use, not an issue. And in sometimes we might need to use the variables and then do formatting, and then we'll further use in our next calculations. Okay. So here and we have win probability, and using this win probability, so we are going to calculate the estimated commission and multiply it by 100. Okay. So we can set like this. We can just use this calculation, and then we will set the calculated value to the estimated commission field. So we should always use the API names. This is API name, backend name, and this is also backend name. We should not use the display names to set the field values. So the another way is, so this is like one of the best practice method, and the normal way of getting the win probability is so using get attribute function. So we can use get attribute of win probability, and so this is so this is how we can get the value. But even yeah, so even without get attribute, we can simply write this. The same way for set attribute also, we can use set attribute function, set attribute of the field value, field name, comma, it takes two parameters. First parameter is the attribute name, and second parameter is the value. So this is how uh, we will read the value and we will set the value. So in two forms. So this is a simple form, and this is also simple form, but with the get attribute or set attribute functions, and this is directly without using set attribute, get attribute. Okay, so for now we'll comment the second line, because anyway we are already, any one is sufficient for now. And same way to update any other field, so we can use the same way. Even if you want to update the checkbox fields, we will use okay, we'll use one of the checkbox field as well. So I'm just resetting it so that it should get updated. The estimated commission should get updated based on the win probability. Now I'm saving. Now it should try to read win probability and then calculate commission, and then it should set the estimated commission. Yeah. So now it calculated and it is multiplied by 100 and then it sets the value. Okay. So then we'll also set the referenceable value to check. So uh, getting value and setting value is easy, but it just there is a difference uh, like from each data type. So for each data type, we need to set differently. For example, if it is a referenceable, right? So we'll just search for that. Yeah, it is a checkbox field. So how we can set checkbox to yes is y. If it is unchecked, we will use n. And if it is a DCL, right? So if it is a dynamic choice list, we need to use ID field. Let's say we have account ID. Okay, so here we need to provide the ID. Something like this party ID will be there, right? So this ID we need to submit to set the account, not the display name, because in backend it uses the ID to set the value. If we just use ID, automatically the display name will get updated. And for FCLs, right? For FCLs, we need to use the lookup codes while creating lookups, right? So we will use some lists, right? Pick lists. So we need to provide. So this is a campus role is one of the pick list. So we will use the backend lookup code. Suppose if this has accountant campus role underscore C has an accountant in UI and in backend maybe it will be like this in caps or whatever it may be. So but we should provide as a string and it should be the backend code, not the display code. Okay, and formula fields. Formula fields can be read only. So we can just read and we can use in calculations, but not we cannot set the formula fields here. So like this. So like this we can't use. Something like this is not correct because formula fields are calculated values. So it can be uh, just for read reference. And for date, we will provide date and date time, we will provide date time. Okay. Currency value. So like this, depending on the data type, we will provide the values here. Okay. So yeah, I'm just commenting other and just keeping referenceable. So now it should get updated to yes. So we can also set the fields and get the fields based on a condition also. So so for the condition, we can use again the if else statements. So if this is the condition, then only set, or if this is the condition, then only get and then set. So like that conditions we can make. Now it should get updated to 7000 and referenceable should be checked. Yeah, it is checked. So this is how we will set the values and even get the values. So, and sometimes, right? So if the FCLs, fixed choice list, maybe multi-choice list, right? So in that case, how we will pass multiple values, right? So just using separated by comma. So accountant, consultant. Like this, we can pass different values. Okay. And so we don't need to provide the codes for each string, but so we can just use the separated. We can just separate by comma. And for number fields, we don't need to use quotes. Only for strings, we need to use quotes. So we can also pass the variable value here in place of, yeah, so like this, right? So we can calculate somewhere here, and then we can directly use this calculated variable, right? Directly here we can use in the second parameter. So where this is the field name and this is the field value in set attribute. Okay, so that's all about getting an attribute and setting an attribute for a specific object context. So now we are in opportunity object context, right? So we have done the set attribute and get attribute within opportunity object. So in coming sessions, we'll also see how we can access different objects and set or get the values from different object or child object. All those things we'll see in next sessions.